Hey friends, welcome to Forgotten Waypoints, where today we are going to talk about my first impressions with the Garmin Enduro 3, which I've had now for a couple of hours, and discuss this watch, some of the things that I liked and disliked. If you guys clicked on this video and you're watching, I know you have absorbed everything from the hardcore multi-sport YouTubers who are fortunate enough to have a pre-production prototype model of this, and you're probably trying to soak up everything that you can. And so we're gonna dive right into that. And I will tell you what I felt after I picked this one up and what impressed me about the Enduro 3. And for my longtime subscribers who are wondering, what in the world is this guy on an off-road overland adventure channel doing, talking about a multi-sport fitness tracking watch? Well, stick around. I will tell you how this ties in. Okay, the first thing you notice when you unpackage this watch is how incredibly light it is. Like, it is crazy light. I mean, you've heard it in the spec sheet that, yeah, it's X many grams lighter than a Fenix 7 or X many grams lighter than a Fenix 6X Pro. But when I pulled mine out, I mean, it felt to me like there was no battery in it. I mean, it was deceptively light. I don't know how to put it. It is very, very light. When one reviewer once said, hey, if I've got to wear a watch every day, it would be the Enduro 3 because of how light it is, he was not joking. It is really light. Compared to my Fenix 6X Pro, I mean, this feels heavy. And this is very, very light. And I like that. I mean, for first impression, that was really great. A lot has been said, and I, as a material snob, thought the same way. A lot has been said about the polyfiber back on here, and also on the case material. It's that poly resin fiber. You're thinking everything else is titanium, stainless steel. It's just got all these buzzwords. Well, I didn't realize it, but my Fenix 6X Pro also has the polycarbonate case. It does have a stainless steel back and I believe a stainless steel bezel. Maybe it's titanium here. Anyway, I don't know on the Pro. I did not get the titanium model. Must be stainless steel on both. Maybe that's why it's so heavy. But anyway, the case material is the poly resin. I am on like a 3 to 4 year upgrade cycle. I use these watches all the time, almost 24/7. And my poly resin case, other than having to clean inside the grooves here, it is in very, very good shape. I'm not worried about the poly case on the Enduro 3 scratching or damaging. On the back, it was more a comfort thing for me on the back case. Like, how is that going to get damaged? If it's getting damaged, my wrist is in bad shape. And so I don't think the back's going to get damaged so much as the case material. And it was more a comfort thing. I like the feel of cold steel, I guess you could say. You put the Enduro 3 on, you cinch it down, and it's comfortable. It really is. This Velcro strap, I was a little worried about that. It has the same ridges that I believe you can get a regular Garmin strap from their catalog, and you can swap it out and snap it right on. It is the same size as the band on my Fenix 6X Pro. And honestly, I was worried about the strap. For me personally, I didn't know about the look, if it looked a little cheap. I mean, it does look like you're running 40 miles, but during daily wear, I'm not running 40 miles. So I wondered how that would look. It looks better in person than it does in the pictures or when other people are wearing it. It really, on the videos, it really, to me, looks better in person. It's surprisingly comfortable. I may keep it and try it out. I've used these silicone bands from Garmin for quite a while. They are not cheap. I'm on my second one on the 6X Pro. I broke one on a Fenix 3HR that I gave to my son. He broke one too. Now we swapped him to a nylon band. He seems to be liking it. I think his was a third party, or maybe Garmin had one on sale. He seems to be liking it. I'm going to try this Velcro strap. I'll see how I like it. One thing I did notice about it is you can match your fit perfectly with this strap. It's the first time for me using this strap. And for those of you who maybe use this strap who've used this strap for a while now, can attest to this. But the fit of the watch is incredible. There's no over tight. When I put it through one loop, it's over tight. When I start to sweat or whatever, and then I loosen it up, it starts getting sloppy. It's it's just a good fit. It's great. Another first impression for me personally, coming from the Fenix 6X Pro, was the touchscreen. Those of us upgrading or looking to upgrade from the 6X, we have not had the touchscreen. How is that going to be? Those of you on an Epix 2 or a Fenix 7X for a while, or a third party, have used the touchscreen for years now. For me, when the watch came, I turned it on, you would twist it and the gesture mode was activated, the backlight would kick on. For those of us who are fans of MIP displays, I believe most of us turn the gesture mode off. I mean, it's an always-on display, especially out here in the sun. You can see it perfectly. And so I turn the gesture off, which makes it more like a normal watch to me. And that was really easy to do. The backlight comes on, and I love how the backlight comes on with the touchscreen. I just tap it, and the backlight is on. It stays on for a while. You can't tell it's on because there's so much sun out here. But in the buildings, you can touch it. On the Fenix 6X Pro, you got to reach around, and I'm always reaching around like this to hit that top button. And, you know, wherever you're at, sometimes that may be easy. It's really easy just to tap the screen. Wherever you're at, you can just mash the screen, the backlight comes on. I like that better than hitting the backlight button, honestly. I really do. Another thing I noticed is lock key on the interface. Now, I don't know if the Fenix 7 has that. I'll have to pull out my wife's and see if it does. But what it is you tap on the screen and it will turn the backlight on, but it won't adjust anything. It won't change your screen. It won't move the screen over. There's a lock button at the top, just like a lock screen on your phone. You swipe down, and once you swipe down, it's unlocked, and you can swipe between the different modes and the watch faces and your notifications. And then after a certain amount of time, I think when the backlight goes off, it locks itself back up. I think I'm going to really, really enjoy that feature. The other feature is the integration of the LED light. You tap that twice, the light goes on, tap it again, light goes off. You can adjust the different colors and everything. And for me, I didn't think this was going to be useful, but I think I'm going to use this all the time. And I'll tell you why. I've got a cold storage area under my house that doesn't have lighting yet. And my wife and I, we went shopping. We bought some stuff for our storage room. I was bringing it down there. We have a little lantern, LED lantern light we kick on, and we kind of have to move it around. Or if you have a flashlight, you got to set it somewhere, like set as in with something in your hand. And so then you can't carry anything, right? Well, with this flashlight, you double click, and it is surprisingly bright in a dark room. It was originally designed for the ultra runners running in the morning. They run, and as they run and their hand moves, it floods out to lighten in front of them. I haven't tested this. I don't know how well it works on a run in 4 in the morning, but in my basement storage room, I can handle stuff with 2 hands and move my wrist around and see very, very well. And it's a nice LED. It's better than your flashlight or your phone. You can pull your phone out and turn the flashlight on, but again, you've lost your hand. This is on the wrist. Your hands are free. It's really good. It's always there. And that's one feature I really think I'm going to use a lot, especially repairing a vehicle in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a flashlight. Who knows how long the battery will last with the LED on full power? I'm sure that diminishes it quite a bit, but it should last long enough for you to do whatever task you need to do. I've been a Garmin Fenix user since the Fenix 1, and it was the navigation concept of having a map on my wrist, which had me buy the Fenix watches. And it was the upgraded maps on the Fenix 6X Pro is why I upgraded from the Fenix 3HR. But the truth is, I'm not using the watch for navigation. And the reason why is I either have my phone with me, it's a better screen, better resolution, better interface, or I'm hiking with my Garmin GPS map, which has built-in InReach, and I'll get to InReach a little bit later. But it's always with me. And again, it's a better screen, better user interface, and I'm not running the map because it's so small on my wrist. I am looking at my biometrics and how far I've gone in the elevation and cool things like that because it's easy to flick, especially with the MIP display, which is on all the time. You can just glance and see it. But I'm not using the maps. Although it is nice to, or pan, I should say, zooming in, it seemed like I still had to use the buttons. I couldn't figure out how to do a pinch zoom. Maybe you can't because the screen's so small. But I couldn't do a pinch zoom. I had to use the buttons to zoom in and out and my finger to pan. And that method worked really well. Way better than this, which is a button to zoom and then another button to change to pan, and then buttons to pan, another button to change to zoom, and then a button to zoom out. It was very, very cumbersome without a touchscreen. This is where the touchscreen is going to be awesome on the Enduro 3. So I went the MIP screen because I don't know if I'm ready to go to AMOLED yet. It is so nice having a screen on 24/7, no gestures, no nothing. I can set it down on a table and I can look at it. It's always on. It's not just always on in a gimmicky mode, which eats battery life. It's always on for 2-3 weeks, a month. Who knows if I'm not using the GPS, maybe even longer. I don't have to charge. I go on business travel for my work. I don't have to worry about a charge cable. And so the Enduro, for me, the battery life was great. It was a selling point for me, but it wasn't the #1 selling point. Honestly, the lightweight on this is really cooler than the extended battery life to me. What I would have liked to see in the Fenix 8, now we're going to get into hypotheticals here. What I would have liked to see in the Fenix 8, which would have pushed me from an Enduro 3 to a Fenix 8, is let's talk the Fenix 8 Solar right now. If it would have come with InReach integration. Now, Garmin, if by chance you're watching this video, if it would have came with Garmin InReach integration, I would have paid the $300 premium because I am carrying a GPS mapped 62 on all my hikes with the InReach in case of an emergency. If I had the InReach built in on my wrist, even at the expense of some battery life to fit the hardware, I would have the Fenix 8. Having InReach 24/7 would be awesome to me. And I would buy the Fenix 8 upgrade, no question, if that was built into the watch. And I could move the subscription from my GPS map to my Fenix. That would be awesome for what I like to do, since I'm not a diver. Another feature that would have bumped me to the Fenix 8 is if Garmin engineers, and maybe you can do this, maybe you haven't, if they could make the MIP display high enough resolution so that it would match the AMOLED display. Now, I know the colors aren't going to be there. The animation speed won't be there. The MIP display is, by definition, a low battery used display, and it doesn't work fast. It's not brilliant. That's not its design. But if they can double the pixel count and the resolution so that in the map mode, I get more definition and the watch faces look a lot crisper, I know as these pixels move, it eats battery life, but you're a Fenix 8, you're not an Enduro. You can keep the Enduro 3 at the 280 by 280 pixels, have the Garmin Fenix 8 Solar at 400 by whatever in MIP display, and I think you'd see a lot more people running out and buying the Fenix 8 Solar, even if it decreases battery life compared to the Enduro, as long as it's a little bit better than the AMOLED, or even if it's equal to the AMOLED, which should be a couple weeks. If it's always on MIP in a couple weeks, I would have gone the MIP display with the higher resolution and paid the increased price over the Enduro 3 for the Fenix 8 for those two reasons. Because honestly, I am an off-road adventurer, and as part of my off-road driving, I like to get to where I can kayak. I like to get where I can hike. I'm not doing deep dives. I'm not doing 16-mile runs or hikes or huge expeditions, 2 weeks backpacking. I'm not doing that, but I am doing running. I'm doing hiking. I'm doing casual walking. I'm doing all of these things, which I love on my Garmin device. But it seems like the Garmin engineers have their fitness group, and then they have their off-road, overland group that does the mobile devices like the Garmin Overlander. And those teams don't seem to talk because there is crossover, like me, who loves the adventure watch and loves going out and doing these things, and also the off-roading. It would be really nice if some of those overland features could pop into the Fenix, such as InReach mainly, and then maybe some of the mapping options they could think about throwing in there. And that would be great for a multi-user like me. Really, who's this watch for, and why is it on Adventure Channel? This watch is the it is the multi-sport version of a rooftop tent for you off-roaders out there. It is not necessary, and it is overkill for 90% of the buyers out there. We are just everyday people who go to work once a week, and hopefully on the weekend we can go open swim, or we can bicycle, or we can hike, or we can kayak, and we love reading our metrics. We're trying to lose some weight, And this watch is overkill for that. There are other Garmin's that are cheaper and may fit your use case better and save the money. That's good. Some of us, though, appreciate the high-end hardware, even though we're not using it all the time. Like I said, I've been a Fenix owner now since the first one came out in 2012, and I love the hardware, even at the generation it is. The 6X Pro, still a very good watch. It'll probably go to my son, and he'll use it, and he'll love it, even though the tech is dated. It's 4, 5, 6 years old now. But because it's a Fenix, the battery life is still good. The build quality is still amazing. The buttons still function. It still functions 5 years later. There's something to be said about even buying a Fenix 6 used over a new watch if you can't afford the Enduro 3. Get the Enduro 2, as the Enduro 3 makes the Enduro 2 cut prices, and you will be very, very happy with staying on the high end. I mean, that's part of what us overlanders do. We buy 20-year-old Land Cruisers because we can't afford the new ones. But the old ones are amazing 20 years later, and we think sometimes maybe even better than some of the newer stuff that was built at a lower spec level. So there is a reason for having an Enduro 3, even if you have an office job and you're not doing multi-sport all the time. If you enjoy hiking, if you enjoy backpacking casually, if you enjoy kayaking, any of those things, Garmin will sync to the Garmin Connect. The Enduro 3 is a great watch for it. I don't have to worry about taking it off to charge it. I don't have to worry about taking it off for certain activities because it is built to handle and hammer that. It's got the sapphire screen. It's supposed to be screen resistant. It was mentioned, I read, that it reflects a lot more, and that's why they prefer the 6X Pro, which has Gorilla Glass. I'm out in the sun right now, and I can see that. He is definitely true. The 6X Pro does not doesn't display reflections on the watch face over the Enduro 3. The MIP screen on this with Gorilla Glass is easier to see because of the reflections. That's saying it's not a deal breaker. I also have a glass screen protector over the Gorilla Glass, and I'm on like my third one. So I do not baby these watches. I hit them, they get banged up, the screen protectors get scratched, the Gorilla Glass is still perfect. And yes, I know the sapphire screen is supposed to be able to handle impacts. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to buy screen protectors when they come. I'm going to stick it on top. I will probably go through one a year because I'm rough on my hardware. And putting that glass display on, I'm hoping will cut down on the reflections, just like it seems to be doing with the combination on the Gorilla Glass. It'll cut down on the reflections. I have no doubt it will affect the solar to some degree. It doesn't seem to affect the MIP brightness, especially in the sun. They look both clear, the same clearness to me. I have a Fenix 7S that I'll show in 42 millimeter. That's my wife's. And I can attest to what people have said about the old solar style where they had the red band around and then they put a solar panel in front of or on top of the MIP display, and it darkens the MIP display on the 7S. I was never a fan of my wife's 7S. She loves it. She came from a lower spec watch, and it was the first one she had, and she loves it. But to me, coming from a 6X, I can see why some people online even said, oh man, I had to return my 7X because I couldn't take the screen. I'm going back to the 6X. Well, that issue has been resolved in the Enduro, and no doubt the Fenix 8 Solar. That's gone because the solar band is around the outside of the bezel now, and it's black. It looks sharp. The screen is great. It's as good as MIP will be. It's not going to be super bright. I've played with Garmin IQ's new watch face editor. I wish they had more options that you can add around there. I mean, it's got your fitness ones, but on a watch that we also double like a smartwatch like this, I would have liked to have seen Bluetooth connectivity, and maybe some of the other information like that. Maybe make the battery monitor a little bit, give more options for that. I think the battery monitor is very important, but it takes up so much real estate. It's got the graphic icon, and then it says 86%. Like, show us just the graphic icon, or show us just the 86% and free up that room. Since we don't have the luxury of 480 brilliant pixels, we only have 280 to work with. Get rid of the dang battery icon. Give us the 86%. That's all we need. Give us a Bluetooth connectivity. Give us an icon that shows if we have an alarm set or not. That's what I liked on my old watch faces. Right now I have a solar screen, heart rate, steps. Those are all good. The solar I might pull off because it seems that wherever I'm at, if I'm indoors, it's not dynamic. It's slow updating. It'll go 0. And then as soon as I walk outside, because I'm in the desert of Utah, it jumps up to 100. So there's really no, it's like, oh, is it bright outside? Yeah, okay, 100%. Am I in a dark room? Yeah, okay, 0. I haven't seen 15, I haven't seen 20, so I'll pull that one off. I like how you can put your own photo background, but again, with the MIP display, that's not as cool as the AMOLED. I'm using a display right now of the annular eclipse that I took last October, and I got a really cool shot that shows some sunspots. The sunspots do not show up on my watch, but anyway, it's black and it's yellow and it's dark, and on a MIP display, that will not take a lot of energy. And it looks clean, it looks sharp. I also took a photo of Calf Creek, which I really like, long exposure on my camera, and I tried using that as a background, and that watch face would look stunning on a Fenix 8 AMOLED, but on the Enduro 3 and a MIP display, you can totally tell with the lack of gradient colors and the lack of resolution, it just looks like a mess on here. And so you got to be careful when you're making your own watch faces. Again, I wish Garmin gives us more non-fitness options. Like I said, Garmin, if you're listening, I want Bluetooth on or off, so I know just at a glance, if I have connectivity with my smartphone, maybe a notification. I think you have that one. And alarms on or off, because I use the alarm feature a lot on my watch, and it would be nice if I could just have an icon that shows a bell when it's on, it's highlighted, and it's not highlighted when the alarms are off. That would be really, really cool. So anyway, thanks you guys for watching. These are brief impressions. I have nothing on the battery life. I think it was at 77 or something like that, or 80, or 77 when I got it. I plugged it in the charger. It's reading 86 right now. I've had a lot of sun. I did a mile hike. I've had it on since then, and I think it's gone up in percentage. So maybe the solar does work. I did one I did that walk using the GPS, and I played with the map modes. I haven't charged it since. It's at 86 now, and I think that's higher than when I started. So that is a good sign. And those are my impressions. Hopefully that helps you kind of decide if you want to go the Fenix 8 route, the Enduro route. Stay with the Fenix 6X Pro, which is still an awesome smartwatch. Stay with your Fenix 7. I'm asking you guys, what do you like about the Enduro 3? If you're here right now watching this video, what do you like about the Enduro 3? What do you want to know about the Enduro 3? What do you like about it over the Fenix 8? What do you like about the Fenix 8 over the Enduro 3? Do you guys care about InReach integration with the watch? Is that something you'd be interested in? What about my theory of doubling the pixel count, even at the expense of battery life, for a Fenix 8 MIP instead of the Enduro 3? Let the Fenix 8 MIP go high resolution, the Enduro 3 stay at 280, better battery life. What do you guys think of that? Write the comments down. Honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, because of my real life work obligations, I haven't been able to post online as often as I want to, YouTube, and YouTube has massively penalized me for that. They've basically cut me completely out of the algorithm. My videos don't go anywhere. So if you're watching this, I really, really appreciate it. And the best thing you can do to show your support is just click the thumbs up button and make a comment on the questions I ask. Make a comment. YouTube sees that. It shoots the video out to other people. They can choose to click on it, and hopefully it helps me out. At least it tells me that people are enjoying my content. If you really enjoy this content, you also enjoy off-road exploration and gear reviews like this, hit the subscribe button. We're going to try to make more. We're going to try to add more as my real life work obligations kind of tone back. We're not quitting yet. So hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell if you really like this stuff. If you don't like my channel and you're just here and you're like, whatever, hit the thumbs down button twice. You do one of those things and everybody wins. Anyway, I hope to see you guys on the trail, either out there in a 4-wheel drive, out there walking, out there in a kayak. Let's talk watches, let's talk vehicles, and I hope to see you there. Thanks.